and welcome to the third episode of our Defence Matters podcast. In today's episode, I'm excited to have a truly inspirational guest with me, Holly Pennington. Holly is Weapons Technical Services Team Leader at DE&S. Not only a long-standing DE&S employee with almost 20 years service, Holly was also DE&S's first ever female apprentice. I'm looking forward to hearing more from Holly and learning all about her career journey so far. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Defence Matters. Hi, Holly. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's great to have you on the podcast. I thought we'd start with a little bit of an introduction, if that's all right with you. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you currently do at DE&S.
So my name is Holly Pennington. I started in DE&S in 2004 as an electrical and engineering electronics apprentice. I was on the pilot scheme that was set up for that apprenticeship, and was such the only female on there, which made for a very interesting journey.
Sure.
I then spent 7-8 years within weapons-related delivery teams at DE&S, looking at engineering activities, integrated logistics support, so things like security, inventory management, and technology management of various different kind of engineering things, specifically on weapons and weapon systems. I then specialised in energetic materials and went to what was then the Defence Ordnance Safety Group, and worked in the energetic materials area. So I'm an energetic material specialist by background. During that, I completed my master's degree, which is a great achievement for my past, I feel, and also achieved my chartered engineer status within that time. I've since taken a bit of a stint to kind of broaden my technical stuff, and went to Kinetic for 1.5 years as a systems engineer, which was quite an experience. But the whole activity then led me to come back to DE&S and try to achieve more, where I undertook a chief engineer role within the Tomahawk torpedoes and harpoon delivery team, and I have started a role in April this year as the Weapons Technical Services team leader. In terms of what they do, they are one of the teams that evolved from the Defence Ordnance Safety Group transformation work that's been undertaken recently, and they are the subject matter experts on anything weapons safety and suitability, and provide support to the delivery teams within DE&S, as well as an international role in aligning with NATO, and also seeking to invest in technology improvements that should really help the delivery teams improve the decision making in the activities that they do.
Wow, it's quite a career history to date. All very exciting stuff. Did you always know that you wanted to work in the engineering field?
Absolutely not. I think
Right.
aligning with a lot of the discussions that we had at one of the Women in Engineering Week, it was surprising the amount of women in engineering that originally wanted to be vets.
Oh, right.
I think my turning point was during my year 10 work experience at school. We had 2 weeks. What did we want to do? Well, obviously, first one was I want to go to a vet's, but what do I want to do with my second week? I was very into cars at that point, driven by the Fast and the Furious movies and games such as Need for Speed. So I mean, I was kind of planning on going to university and doing automotive engineering after that work experience that I had in a car garage. That was a fantastic week, and that was the turning point that I realised I wanted to do engineering.
Wow, that's so interesting, and that's quite different. Vet or engineering,
Yeah.
They're not similar, are they? That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So as you mentioned, DE&S's first female apprentice, that's quite an accolade. What motivated you to join the apprenticeship scheme in particular?
I mean, to go to university, you need very good grades. So A's is what was expected for most of the degrees that I was looking at. Now, I was halfway through my AS levels. I managed to achieve D's in my maths and physics. I got a B in art. I was very proud of my B in art, but that's not going to get me to university.
Right.
So I started thinking of other options. So the advert came out for the apprenticeship. And with my family being very military orientated, having my granddad in the REME and my dad in the RAF, my sister was with the reserves, and my brother was always set on joining the army. It seemed like a decent move for me and something that would align with my family's interests.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes total sense. It's in the blood, it sounds like. So aside from being DE&S's first female apprentice, you touched on a couple of things in your sort of introduction. What are you most proud of from your career at DE&S so far, and why? What's so significant about it?
I would suggest that, I mean, the work that I've done supporting the technical discipline lead previously, which was Phil Cheese, up until April this year, and then being given the honour of taking over that technical discipline role for weapons, ordnance, munition, and explosives is something that I'm really proud of, and it's a part of my job that is really self-fulfilling, because of all the activities that you get to do. Um, it's something that I do alongside my current role, so it's not a
Right.
whole role on its own. Um, and the responsibility of it is to build the community in the weapons, ordnance, munitions, and explosives discipline area, and to address SQEP capability gaps within the discipline. It gives me a massive sense of personal satisfaction to be able to help those that are in the entry talent schemes currently, such as the apprenticeship that I undertook. And I really do enjoy hosting the biannual forum, where we can all get together and we can share our LFE, and build networks.
Oh, that's brilliant. That sounds very, um, like you said, fulfilling. And you can use your experience, having gone through the apprenticeship program yourself, to help that entry talent. That's brilliant.
This podcast is brought to you by DE&S. If you're looking for a new career opportunity, visit des.mod.uk/vacancies to find out more.
So, in your experience, have you found the culture within DE&S to be supportive of you and other women professionals? And if so, in what way?
I definitely have. I mean, DNS from my perspective has been extremely inclusive. Um, I've often been the only female in the room for many, many meetings, over the years, but I definitely have seen an increase in female engineers within the weapons operating centre specifically, and it's really nice to have a really good community. Um, I would suggest that my view of the culture is driven by several extremely good line managers that I've had throughout my career. Um, and I mean, they helped me to build on my ability to challenge, and providing me with the confidence to act on my own judgments. Um, but I think that's irrespective of being female. Um, I have felt that the annual Women in Engineering events, and awards led by the Women in Defence community have a very positive effect within DNS at promoting and recognising the women engineers within the business. Having been nominated this year for an award by my previous line manager, it was an absolute honour to have been identified, and was fantastic to participate in the various activities and panels over Women in Defence Week, alongside, and meeting for the first time many other women engineers within defence.
From your perspective, what do you believe are steps that organisations like DNS can take to try and attract more women into not just engineering, but into the defence sector, and help retain them throughout their careers?
I would suggest that the DNS has fully supported me throughout my career in terms of education, having good role models to support me, and providing the opportunities for me to flourish. But that's nothing specific to me being a woman. I feel like that is just the general culture of DNS. But focusing on the question in terms of promoting, promoting visibility of women in engineering roles, like you're doing with this podcast, I think is a fantastic way to normalize for the next generation that we are already here, and that it's a very satisfying career. I think that promoting the roles that we've got available within DE&S to school age children is something that really should be promoted a lot more, because the roles and activities that I've done since starting are certainly not things that were on my radar when I was at school. And visibility of the opportunities that are actually within reach would really help them to start migrating towards the defence sector.
Yeah, starting early, nice and early while they're at school. No, I love that. And I really like what you said about we are here.
Yeah.
We are here, absolutely. Yeah, 100%, totally agree with that. As a leader in the industry, in the defence sector, are there any particular steps you're taking or any strategies that you employ in your role to help foster a supportive and empowering work environment for your team members, all of your team members, not just the women in your team, but also the men in your team?
My current strategy is focused this year on building up OME networks for all the individuals within the community. So alongside the OME forum, I'm working on building up communities of interest so that people with similar experiences and challenges can work together to support each other and to speed up the successes individually by just helping each other out and knowing who to go to when you've got a challenge. I certainly wouldn't be in the position that I'm in without the network that I've built throughout my career across the defence enterprise, not just within DE&S. And I'd like to make sure that others have a similar capability, so that if you can't answer a question, you know where to go to get that question answered. We've got a lot of great people within DE&S and the defence sector who are more than willing to share their knowledge and experience with others, but we just have to know who they are and where they are.
Yeah, absolutely, how to get in touch with them. Yeah. Finally, Holly, if you could go back in time, what one bit of advice would you give your younger self when you first embarked on this career journey in engineering and defence?
I would suggest that the best bit of advice that I could give is to never feel that you're not suitable because you haven't got the experience, you haven't got the right education, and you don't tick all the boxes on a job advert or academic qualification. I found myself in this position many times throughout my career, and I've been told post that anxiety that enthusiasm for the topic and keenness to learn go very, very far in the eyes of the individuals that are doing the recruiting. So whatever it is that you set your sights on, go for it. Some examples that I've had was specifically within the energetics area that I went into after my 7 years in a delivery team. I had no knowledge of the science of explosives, but I learned so much from doing the job and really grew into it. And I think that's the expectation that should be set. And also the explosive ordnance engineering master's degree. Without having a degree in my back pocket, it was a struggle to prove myself to get onto it. But in the end, I completed it, and it's one of those things that I'm very proud of in my career, and I'd like to encourage others to ignore those perceived blockers.
Lovely. No, I think that's some really good advice. Really good advice. Is there anything else you would like to share with our network about your career to date, about your future plans for your career? Anything else you'd like to share with us?
Oh no, we don't plan our career. We don't plan our career. The amount of times that I've had this conversation throughout my career is, what's your next step? Right. I've not known my next step throughout the whole career. The opportunities have arisen and I've taken them. And it's just gone very well. Brilliant.
No, that's great. I like that a lot. Don't plan your next step. If it's meant for you, it will pass by you, which I love. A massive thank you to Holly for chatting with me today. If this episode has inspired you to want to find out more about careers at DE&S, follow the link above and in the comments. Thank you.